Friends, this is a clock prophecy update for April 22, 2017. The video that you're hearing is based on a written update published April the 8th at the website. And because of some variation in detail, I would encourage you to read the written update at the website. You'll find links in the video and also in the text box below the video, a link to the book as well as the website. Now, a number of my readers continue to believe that Barack Obama will become the Antichrist. However, Obama is missing too many of the biographical details found in Scripture, beginning in the Old Testament and continuing to the book of Revelation, for him to actually be the figurehead role, or to play the figurehead role in 666. According to the clock prophecy, the identity of 666 is comprised of 3 individuals, not 2 as the modern church believes. I discuss this topic at length in chapter 6 of my book, The Clock of the Four Night Watches. The clock has identified former President Obama as the first beast of Revelation. Therefore, he is the first 6 in 666, making him the 7th king and forerunner to the 8th king, who is, of course, the final world king, referred to as the second beast, who himself arises out of Europe to become the Antichrist figurehead sometime before 2020. Now, remember that in Revelation, John refers to 666 as the number of a man. However, in the Greek, it is not a man, it is rather the face of man. And this is why we actually have a triangulation of beast power over which the dragon sits. Just like a pyramid, you have, if you look at it from the top down, the dragon is the one who gives them their power. But those 3 underpinnings, 666, are 3 individuals and 3 separate points of contact. Now, again, the clock has identified Obama as being the first beast. Therefore, he is a forerunner. Where does the false prophet fit in? Well, according to Scripture, he is yet a 3rd individual, completely separate from either of the 2 final kings, or 2 beasts, of Revelation chapters 11 and 17. The false prophet, identified on the clock as the current pope, is a secondary figure in 666, but receives only 1 pre-Armageddon mention in the entire book of Revelation. Note that the terms beast and the term false prophet are not used interchangeably even once in John's book of Revelation. So, what is Obama's role in 666? His role is to become the image of the beast, which the world's last tyrannical ruler will use as a kind of banner to deceive the masses before requiring them to take the mark. The Pope will, of course, support both of them. You can learn what all this means by reading chapter 6 of my book, which I hope you will share with others if you haven't already done so. Let's discuss the timeline. We are continuing to watch for the conclusion of a lunar eclipse pattern that began just days before the start date on the clock and ends in January of 2019. While a partial eclipse brings this pattern to a close early that year, we look for a total eclipse to take place 6 months earlier and some 8 weeks before Sukkot or Tabernacles in 2018. The reason for this is that Jesus said the moon would not give her light immediately before his bodily return. There are other reasons the moon might go dark or fail to reflect sunlight at the end of our final generation, but a full lunar eclipse is the only event that we know will occur in such close proximity to Sukkot between now and the end of an 80-year Hebrew generation in early 2021. This is why the Lord's coming may occur as early as late summer in 2018, or if the events of the seventh seal require a full count of 1,260 days, based on a 42-month period of fulfillment as described in Revelation 13, the fall of 2020. Even if only 630 days are required for those events, based on a measurement of the text itself, the end might come as late as 2020 due to the fact that the seventh seal may not open until 630 days prior to Sukkot in 2020. Unless we reach the fall of this year, 2017, without the seventh seal having opened, I will continue to be partial to a 2018 endpoint. Now, what if a biblical generation extends beyond an 80-year period of time, as some believe? That would mean that we move beyond the range of the black-green portion on the clock itself. At this point, we are watching for an oceanic meteor strike as recorded in Revelation 8, and a horizon-limited firewall resulting from that impact as proof that the seventh seal has opened. There was some speculation on the internet and on YouTube that this recent meteor or asteroid that passed the moon, called 2014-J025, I believe, could be endangering the Earth. We did not expect that because of the measurement of the asteroid. It was only a mile wide. That's large, but I've done simulation with computer software that actually gives you the size and the effects of a meteor strike based on various input data, and I've done this in some detail. And what it shows is that for the description of events as recorded in Revelation chapter 8 to occur, we will have to see a meteor that is approximately 7 miles wide. This is a very large meteor, obviously, but I don't actually expect that we are going to have any kind of heads up from the space agency before it strikes. Now, based on a 1260-day count for the events of the seventh seal, which is possible, the seventh seal would have to open today, April the 22nd, because we would be subtracting 1,260 days from Sukkot in 2020. And I specifically select the Sabbath during Sukkot because I believe that to be the key date within Sukkot that we would expect to see Jesus return. At the same time, we don't know exactly where the ancient and the modern calendars overlap, and so we can't actually know within a 24-hour period whether we are properly counting. So that means that while today is ostensibly the correct date for this, we have to be aware that the calendars could be off several days or more, and therefore today is a watch date on the clock and not a date that we actually necessarily expect something to occur. Again, I expect the meteor strike to be a very large one, but the typical presentation on YouTube in various from various channels that discuss Bible prophecy is that a very large super tsunami would be the result of this meteor strike. However, that is actually not at all likely, even with a 7-mile wide meteor, and the reason is because scientists have learned through study of other impacts that have occurred in the ocean that a tsunami is not a likely result of a massive rock striking the ocean. And in fact, the size of a tsunami that could result would be entirely dependent on the depth of water, so that the deeper the impact, the less likely a sizable tsunami would occur. And if it's closer to shore, with a more shallow body of water, like say a mile or something like that, it would be the depth of water itself that would actually limit the size of the tsunami as well. So we really wouldn't expect anything larger, and probably not even as large as the 2004 tsunami that struck Indonesia, although it's possible that it could be that large. But I would not look for the kind of Hollywood scenarios that we see depicted so often for the effects of something like that. Now, the message of the clock prophecy is that no prophetic fulfillment will be confined to a single 24-hour period of time, nor will it be confined to a single point in time for every believer. And that's why we should avoid those who claim to know, or that they could know, the day or hour of any future event. And I certainly don't claim to know the day or hour. Another core teaching of this ministry is that the key to early entry into the marriage is obedience. Now, what this means, broadly speaking, is that we maintain sexual purity, a clean temple, love for others, forgiveness, and daily prayer. Make it about your relationship with Jesus and doing the things that please Him. I know that many of us appreciate the break that we've had from President Obama, former President Obama, since the election of Donald Trump. But we need to be aware that things can change very quickly. I believe we are already seeing the restoration of all things as prophesied by Jesus in Matthew 17. For one, because so many of the things done by wicked officials are being brought out into the open. At the same time, we are seeing the rise of the beast and the conditions necessary for the appearance of the Antichrist. Clearly, the enemy has been permitted to have a level of influence in both political and social life, not only in America, but in the entire world. And God is using this to separate the wheat from the tares. And it's not over yet. In closing, let me point out that, as you may know, I've talked about the role of Kim Jong-un in our progression to critical mass on the clock in some earlier updates. Now we see events concerning North Korea coming to a boil, and it really can't be stressed too strongly how important this could become for us. While the head wound event in Revelation 13 is tied to Obama, there is a convergence of some kind between these two men that will move us into the events of the seventh seal. I believe North Korea's leader will be fatally wounded, and I expect Obama to survive his own near-fatal head wound in the same relative time frame. Obama's date with destiny may wait until his return to public life, even if that does not entail a future leadership role in either the U.S. or at the United Nations. I do believe, however, it is quite possible that he will in fact return to a leadership role in the very near future. I hope this update and message has been a blessing to you. Please share the Clock Prophecy with others, subscribe to my channel, link to it, and by all means, please circulate the book. Give one to your pastor, other people in your church. We need your help in getting this message out because there is coded information in the book that many of you may not be aware of. It's part of the Clock Prophecy. It was delivered to me 7 years ago this year. In fact, May the 12th this year will be the 7-year anniversary date to the day and the afternoon that Jesus appeared to me in my living room at the time that He showed me the clock. I hope you will read my book and share it. God bless as you continue to hear what the Spirit is saying to the churches. Behold, I come quickly. This is Peter John Brandle.